Hello, Cameron Burrell. Thank you for watching my speech today. I did my persuasive speech on the uses of a restraint chair within a jail facility. The credibility that I have in this subject is pretty strong. I work in a detention center where we use a restraint chair, and I've personally been involved in, I would say, 15 to 20 deployments of a restraint chair in my career so far. The restraint chair is a very useful tool that is used to maintain the safety of the facility, as well as the officers, as well as the inmates that are being placed into the chair. My goal in this persuasive speech is to inform you guys of what the positives as well as the negatives are in using a restraint chair. My audience is going to be you guys, my classmates, my teacher, just trying to get the point across that it looks bad, but it's really not that bad. It's very useful. My belief in the restraint chair is that it maintains control. It's a very useful tool in changing attitudes, so to speak. You sit in a chair in the same spot for 2 hours. You don't want to kill yourself anymore. You don't want to hurt the person that put you in that chair. You don't want to beat those officers up anymore. And some people think that's crazy, but that's what happens. The benefits, maintaining the safety and the security of the facility is of the utmost importance. That is number one. 3 claims I have. First one is going to be that the chair may be uncomfortable. While this is true, I've personally sat in one. They are uncomfortable, but uncomfortable is better than dead or injured. Usually when you go into a restraint chair, it's because you're self-injurious or you want to harm yourself, making suicidal thoughts or statements, and the chair is designed to stop those. You can't hurt yourself if you can't move. Next, it's going to be that the chair may cause medical issues. While it is uncomfortable to sit in the same position for multiple hours, medical issues don't come from sitting still. Medical issues come from trying to jerk restraints, trying to get out of those restraints, trying to yell and scream and shake the chair, or if you have pre-existing conditions, that's something, yes, okay, that may be very true, but that's where we are trained, and by law we are required to make a check on you 4 times an hour on an irregular basis, making sure that you're breathing and you're conscious and stuff like that. Also, when we place you in the chair, the straps must be checked by either a supervisor or a medically trained nurse that we have on site. That's the rules. We have protocols and procedures that state that. Last claim is, why not a padded cell over a restraint chair? A padded cell is a cell that takes up room. It's got to be a certain size, certain height, certain width, certain depth. It's got to have the padding on it. It's very expensive. Also, you're placed into a padded cell with a schmuck, which is basically naked with a blanket wrapped around you. It's a blanket that is designed to make you have a piece of clothing on, but it's not very much. The chair, we can have 8, 9, 10 of those in a restraint room or a padded cell. Also, the padded cell doesn't limit your motion or movement. Could still lead to assault on officers. Still hurt yourself. You beat your head on pad long enough, it's going to hurt. The restraint chair, again, range of motion gone, movement gone. All that is the stuff that the restraint chair does over a padded cell. Moving right along, if someone told you that they were thinking of harming themselves, what do you do? What are you guys going to do? You got 2 options. You got a padded cell, you got a restraint chair, and like I said earlier, the restraint chair, all movement gone. That's the thing that I really like about the restraint chair versus the padded cell. And you got to think about those things when somebody says that to you. you're kind of thinking on your feet right then, right there. You got to make a decision. We have a policy that a supervisor has to make the call to place somebody in a restraint chair. So we have to call and make sure they're on board with that. And again, it's important to tell all the information, what's going on. Hey, they're hitting their head on the wall. They got a knot on their head. They're bleeding from it. They're trying to harm themselves. Or you walk by a cell and somebody's got a sheet wrapped around their neck. You got to make a decision right then. And that's the important things. My first claim is going to be the restraint chair assists in changing the demeanor or attitude of a combative person. A person being combative or fighting officers, hitting themselves or something, trying to hurt themselves. The chair, like I said earlier, limits your movement. It stops you from doing that right then. There is no more. They're provided a stretch break within the chair every 2 hours, and that still not being able to move breaks somebody down. It definitely makes them just change their attitude or thinking like, listen, I can get out of this chair if I stop doing this. That's kind of elementary, but that's what it does. It breaks down your, if you put a kid in timeout, that breaks them down. They're looking at the wall. They're like, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. And that's important. You gotta get that attitude changed where, hey, I can't do this again, or this is going to be my punishment. It's not punishment, but this is what's going to happen. Every time I hit my head on the wall, this is where I'm going to go. Next is stop self-injurious or self-harm. With a restraint chair, the straps, like I said, you get one over your arm, one over each arm, one around each ankle, one around the waist, and then 2 over each shoulder that come down straight across the shoulder that keeps you from leaning forward or moving side to side. You can still move your neck, so you can still move that. You still move your hands around a little bit, get feeling in them still, and the straps are put on to a certain tightness. Next is going to be, is it medically safe and causes uncompliant inmates to comply. The chair is safe. I've seen over and over again, personally, that it is safe. You check on them every 15 minutes or so. It's 4 times an hour on an irregular basis. That's state law. It's required to be checked by the medical staff, as I said earlier, when somebody's placed into it, how tight the straps are, that the straps are placed correctly, proper tightness, stuff like that. And those things are set into place to make it safe. As stated before, the restraint chair is an invaluable tool that can not only be a safety device for inmates to keep them from hurting themselves, but to keep them from hurting us as officers. Somebody that's ready to kill themselves, if they're going to kill themselves, they don't care a bit to kill you too, or hurt you too. And that is, at the end of the day, is very, very important for me to come home, see my wife and kids. And that means the most to me. And keeping the jail safe and secure is always the most important thing as well. And that's the way to do it. If it needs a chair, it needs a chair. If it needs a padded cell, it needs a padded cell. For somebody that's trying to hurt themselves, you got to do what you got to do. And that's pretty much what I've got. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching.